Okay, today I am going to introduce you to goals. The things that we're going to cover in this video are frequently asked questions and then 4 tips that I have for writing goals. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Frequently asked questions. The first one is, what goes in the box labeled type? Okay, so that's a really great question. What does go in the box labeled types? Well, there's many types of goals depending on the size of the company that you work for, and so on and so forth. So some of those goal types could be a corporate goal, and so that would be identified like with the letter C, or organizational goal, letter O. If it's a division or a region, it would be labeled D for division or R for region. I think you kind of get the point, as you move throughout a company, maybe it's a department or a team, and you would identify a team goal by the letter T or even D for department. And then finally, on a more personal note, there's always work-related goals for you and for me, and that would be a W. Personal goals. Also, there are going to be volunteer goals, V for volunteer, and H for habit. Well, actually, habits aren't um, like a typical goal. Habits scientifically, new habits are formed over the course of about 60 days, so many scientists say. And so we also have, if you go to your daily sheets, you'll notice that there are 3 boxes there for habits. And so if you're looking to start a new habit, please use those boxes to do so, to keep track of those daily. Anyways, okay, back to frequently asked questions. The next one, what goes into the box labeled hashtag or pound? But depending on whether you're a baby boomer or a Gen X or millennial, that little hashtag is called something different. But anyway, so what is that? That's just a number. Like if it's the first goal that you wrote in your goal detail sheet, then just put number one. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the number one priority goal. It's just goal number one, and then goal number two, and then goal number three. And so that's pretty simple. Frequently asked question number 3. How do you set milestones? Okay, so this is a little bit more complex. Milestones, you'll notice those in the top right hand corner of your detail sheet. Those are typically either based on some type of an amount or on some type of event. So I could give you an example on some of my goals on what that looks like. For example, for amounts, goal number 6. Okay, this particular goal was empower 20,000 entrepreneurs with Christ-centered microloans by November 31st of this year for the next year's work. And so milestones is 25%, 50% complete, 75% complete, and 100% complete. And in order to know where we're at, for me, it was easy based on dollars. So I knew that if we were able to provide $500,000, then that would equip X number of families, and then $1 million, and then $1.5 million, and then $2 million. And so $2 million will equip 20,000 entrepreneurs. So that's how you do one based on amounts, and then based on events. Let me look here. Go to detail sheet number 2, goal number 2. Okay, this one was design an app for organizations to log 10/10, 20/20, and 30/30 meetings to achieve culture strong by October 14th of this year. Okay, so that's one. And so the way that I broke that down was by events. The first event is to sketch up what that app would look like. The next event would be to build that app. The next event is to test it. And then the final event is to release it. And so that's how you come up with milestones. Um, Frequently asked question number 4. There's space for 20 goals in the 2020 goals tracker, but only 10 2020 goals detailer sheets. How many goals should I have? Okay, so that's a great question. How many goals should you have? I will tell you that personally, I've heard where some people say have 5 or 10 goals, 7 goals, optimal, things of that nature. For me, 3 to 4 goals will keep me pretty busy. And so I'd like for you to relax when you think about the number of goals that you need. Um, but also keep in mind that corporately, there are going to be some goals that the corporate as a whole have. And then there will be goals that maybe your department influences. And so anyways, that's why there are 20 spaces for goals to be written in the 2020 goals tracker. But then there are only 10 spaces there for you to write goals that are directly related to you. And so, anyways, that's my recommendation. And be careful not to overwork yourself. Okay, tips for writing goals. Okay, the first tip, the best tip that I can give anyone is that use a pencil or an erasable pen. This one is my favorite. It's a Friction made by Pilot, and I think it's a 0.5 millimeter. Love it. It works very well. And unlike pencil, the ink does not spread to other pages, whereas pencils have a tendency to smear from one page to the next. And then also it erases cleaner than a pencil. And so I recommend that. And then also, you know what? There are no perfect goals. And so often you have to erase your goal. You spend a lot of time building a goal, but you do have to erase. And so I just want you to relax when it comes to actually making your goal. So tip number 2, plan at least a couple of hours when you are sharpest. Um, Goals are they can be a challenge. They really can. So when you begin to write a goal and to think through that goal, you're going to find out that there are things that you can do to simplify that goal and to simplify it down to its simplest form. And so make sure there's ample time in your schedule for that, with very little interruptions, to really focus on that goal, because that's going to be your primary focus in the future. Tip number 3, when goals are tied to hierarchy, then ask the hierarchy for input. And so that's any type of a corporate goal. When you're setting a goal, make sure that you get with your direct report and go over that goal with them so that they can understand how that mixes in with their goals, and therefore make sure that they allow you the time you need to accomplish those goals, and that they help you to guard that time, help you to guard that space in your workday to do that. And then number 4, keep goals simple. Do that. We give you a strategy: do X for Y by Z. Stay with that. Keep it as simple as you possibly can. One thing that I do want to point out was going back with regards to frequently asked question number 2, what goes in the box labeled hashtag or pound sign? That box with that number is important, not only for numbering each goal, but that number will then also fall on your daily 2020 tasks. And so I also have a tip for that. Every morning, early in the day, I will sit down and I will jot down the task that I want to complete that day. And those tasks, I just jot them down in the order that they come to me. And then after I jot those down, I'll review those tasks and say, okay, which one of those are tied to an actual goal? Sometimes you'll find that the majority of your tasks aren't tied to goals. And so when you begin to notice that, you can start to make a little correction and say, you know what, maybe I'm working on things that don't tie to my goals, but maybe they do tie to the goals of another colleague. And so you can go ahead and share that with your colleague and move that off your plate so that you can focus on the goals that are most important for you. And that concludes my introduction to goals. Thank you.